So, namaste. Good morning. Welcome to the Awakening Way spiritual community and our Zoom face. Um, you know, what a blessing. We look for the good in all things, and there are so many good things that are taking place as a result of our current conditions, and this is one of them. This is one of them that we are able to come together virtually like this and still maintain that sense of community and still get spiritually refreshed. It is a remarkable thing. And who we are is a New Thought spiritual community in the lineage of Dr. Ernest Holmes. And, I was thinking about this little phrase came to mind this morning where when we think about most of the other or a lot of the other spiritual traditions, they focus on the hereafter, what comes after, when we leave these bodies. But for us, we focus on what we're after here. Okay, we're focusing on what it is that we are looking for in our lives each and every moment. Is that love? Is that peace? Is that joy? Is that prosperity? Is that whatever that is? We focus on that, and we open to the awareness that whatever it is that we desire, whatever it is that we need, it is always right where we are. And knowing that is one thing. Embodying that is something different altogether. And so, in order for us to truly know that in the depths of our souls, we need help. And the community is here to help everyone, to remind everyone that that life that we desire is as close to us as our next thought. As we turn within and we allow ourselves to recognize and to realize that we are not separate from that divine presence, whatever it is that we call it. So classes, gatherings, music, meditations, and prayer are all part of what we offer in this community. And I'm so grateful that so many of you take advantage of these offerings. We offer prayers each and every week for those in need, and we offer meditations periodically. And a personal prayer is as close as a phone call if you need prayer support in the moment. So if you're here this morning, I think you chose wisely. I think you chose a good place to be this morning. This morning also, we are so blessed and gifted to have Timber Hawkeye with us. He inspires so many people with his clarity of thought and with his deep inspiration that moves us. I find myself thinking about what he says on Sundays long after the day is over. And so whatever it is that brought you here this morning, and wherever you go when this morning is over, for right now, for this perfect moment in time, welcome home. We've been waiting for you. Thanks for being here. I wanted to share this beautiful inspiration from Dr. Ernest Holmes this morning. And so before we begin with our morning, which is going to be just so amazing, I wanted to just take a moment or two for just some quiet thought and some prayer. And so I invite you, if you're comfortable, to just allow your eyes to softly close and to just take a deep cleansing breath for yourself, to just get relaxed and comfortable right where you are. How could it be more comfortable than in your very own home? Just letting go, nothing to do, no place to go, just here and just now. And Ernest Holmes says this: as my thought sinks deep into the quietude of my innermost self, I am conscious of the perfect peace and love and strength of the one universal being, the one divine mind. It is like a tranquil pool, translucent, calm, and beautiful, and I contemplate it, and I am refreshed. I realize it is all pervading, in all and through all, and that it is my true life, my true being. Now I am divinely confident in the unity of life. And so we just breathe in that truth, those beautiful, moving words of Dr. Ernest Holmes. And we recognize truly the unity of all life, that there is only one life, one mind, one spirit, one divine presence, one source. And truly it does pervade all life. It is in and as everything, everything we know, everything we see, everything we don't see, that we cannot see with these mortal eyes. It is all one magnificent substance, one magnificent intelligence. And it is in me, and it is in each and every being here on this call this morning. It is in all of life everywhere. We are all one in this moment, across the planet, across the universe. In our next breath, we breathe the same air that everyone else is breathing. It is all one unified wholeness. And we rest in that truth, and we feel that connection, and we know that it is impossible for us to be alone unless we believe that's true in our own minds. And this morning, we make that shift in mind, and we open to the awareness that, yes, I am one with all there is. Yes, everyone is part of me, and I am part of it. And breathing in and breathing out that awareness, we open to the gifts of this morning, knowing that they flow through us with such joy and ease. The music, the vibrations are perfect. The message is absolutely perfect, moving in our minds and hearts. And we feel those remarkable words spoken by Timber this morning. And we feel the energy of one another, that joy, that sense of being alive right here and now, and connected in this beautiful, remarkable way. And so I know there's nothing I have to do, for everything is already moving divinely, perfectly, completely. And so I just release my word now. I let it go and I let it be. And so it is. Amen.
Oh man, beautiful words this morning, Terry. Thank you. I was, you talked about finding and being at peace and being in a place of peace. And it reminded me of a bumper sticker of all things that I saw a few years ago. And it said, if you're not outraged, then you're not paying attention. And it got me thinking, does it mean that we must not pay attention if we want to remain calm? And at first, that's exactly what I thought that it meant. So I blocked out all exposure to media for so many years. No news, no newspapers, no magazines, nothing. But I'm not entirely convinced that we need to completely unplug from television or the internet. But what we do need to do is safeguard ourselves from getting swept away and then submerged and then finally drowned in this insistent ocean of information and inconsistent that we consume, and we consume it with our eyes, with our ears, with our energy. And I'm reminded back of my earlier years when I used to identify who I was based on my job title or my income bracket, my relationship status, my credit score, my health, the credentials or the lack thereof, and so on. I had to separate myself and realize that I'm not those things. There's some things, someone I am, regardless of those things. So there's these extremes that I've noticed of I can completely and totally obsess over these things, or I completely let them go and then I forget who I am. So I believe there's a happy medium perhaps between not caring about something at all and caring about it way too much, be it politics or our physical appearance, people in our lives, money, just to name a few triggers. There's a happy medium between about not caring about something at all and caring about it way too much. We tend to either get obsessively passionate about something or disturbingly negligent. And yet, only in the middle can we joyfully live our lives by accepting everything as it truly is, which is fantastically temporary. The question that then comes to mind is, okay, well, where do we draw the line? How much television is too much television? How little news is too little news? And how can we stop getting pulled from what Terry was talking about, this kind of peaceful, drama-free zone that we so desperately want to maintain? And, you know, it gets disturbed by someone's comment on Facebook, or, something that a family member says at dinner, or a rumor that we hear. I think the same way that we filter out the majority of, like harmful germs and chemicals from our drinking water, we need to install some sort of filter in our lives to keep out the harmful information that is found in the media, because we can't stop it from happening, but we can filter it out. And when someone says something that rubs us wrong, so it rubs us the wrong way, I love the quote that you don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. And I wonder, why are we so quick to jump up, to react? Are we afraid of being perceived as careless if we don't hold some strong, heated, white-knuckled opinion about something? Are we afraid of what other people would think of us, and that's why we're so quick to say what we believe? And I'm not saying again, where I started with this, that the other extreme is that we give up all of our values. No, keep your values, but ease your grip, if that makes sense. I mean, we already know that getting angry isn't going to make a situation any better. In fact, everything we are currently angry about is stopping us from being happy. When I think about being happy, and it's not that I need to reach out somewhere and pursue happiness. Happiness is available right here, right now. So I ask myself, what is preventing me from being happy? What is in my way? And I think, that everything I'm angry about in this moment is stopping me from being happy. And the moment that I decide to let go of that rage, then I do find that happiness was just patiently waiting for me to rediscover it all along. It was right there. And the fact that anger is a choice that I continually make, you know, I can just as easily choose not to get angry. And yes, even if the anger is this lifelong habitual tendency, it is still just a habit, which means we can break it and replace it with a new one. So going back to that bumper sticker, and I'm sorry, this is all over the place. Hopefully it all comes together by the time I'm done. We never know until I'm done. Uh, I think we can pay attention without being outraged. It just takes practice. This whole subject this month is about centering. So I don't think there's any need for us to react to everything we see, hear, and read. We can act by all means. I'm not suggesting we stick our head in the dirt. It's just that, there are certain things in the world that will continue to upset us, and we can still make decisions to be more in line with our values, but we don't have to do it with anger. Compassion is an equally good motivator without any of the negative side effects. I often speak with couples and we talk about the miscommunications that they have and arguments that they have and the difficulties in their relationships. When I said earlier that happiness is available to us, but something gets in the way of our happiness. Well, for couples as well, they long for that harmony. They long for that balance, for that centering, but something gets in the way of that. What I often recommend that couples do that immediately they almost have like an allergic reaction to the suggestion is when you argue, do it holding hands. And the reason for that is when you argue, and this was something that was recommended to me in couples therapy years ago, when you sit on one side of the couch and whoever you're in a relationship with sits on the other side of the couch and you're arguing, it turns into me versus you. It's two people fighting one another, where when you hold hands together while you're arguing, it's the two of you trying to fix a problem. You don't make the other person the problem. You realize there is a problem. We can come together to solve it. We're a united force, so to speak. And there's this beauty of taking that concept and applying it to the world at large, so to speak. We tend to sit in our living room and watch the news or look online, and it's the couple sitting on opposite sides of the couch saying, "You are wrong. I'm right. You are wrong." And Neil Donald Walsh beautifully articulated. He said, "Nobody does anything wrong considering their model of the world." Nobody does anything wrong considering their model of the world. So when we're sitting in our living rooms and we're judging what someone else is doing as wrong, it's because we're judging what they're doing through our model of the world. We're not taking the time to hold hands and say, tell me what your model of the world is, and how is it according to your model of the world? How is it that what we're doing is right? So I don't know if that makes any sense, to invite us out of our self-righteousness and opposite sides of the couch and come together, not against one another, but so we can solve the problem with one another. The world is delicately balanced and on a constant like continuum, and yet we keep trying to make it concrete. When we talk about acceptance and spirituality, we don't mean agreement. We can accept someone else's truth without taking it on as our own. There's a very big difference there between the two. To bring peace to the world that we keep talking about, my question is like, can we start by making our own life peaceful? Because we can get together every Sunday and we can talk about honoring all life on earth. We can talk about being respectful and kind and compassionate and passionate and loving and patient and sincere. And again, no offense, and I don't mean to disrupt our, or maybe I do mean to disrupt our illusion of peacefulness. I want us to look at ourselves without a funhouse mirror, but to really just look and go, are my actions really all that peaceful? Am I really all that kind and compassionate towards all life on earth? Or is that just something I like to believe about myself? And anyone who disrupts that, anyone who challenges that, is now on the other side of the couch. The idea is for us to implement what we truly believe into our daily lives, to not say that world peace is someone else's responsibility, but to figure out, how am I responsible? Is my life peaceful? And this may not be a long talk. This may not be, I'm way more accustomed to planting that seed and then having a discussion, and maybe we can even do that here today. But I want to plant the seed, if nothing else, and true to like all the chapters in the book and all the podcast episodes, it doesn't have to be a half hour, 45 minutes long in order for us to make us think about it, like Terry said earlier, all day long. There's a book by Mitch Albom called Have a Little Faith. And you know the story, the biblical story about Moses parting the Red Sea. After the Israelites safely crossed the Red Sea, the Egyptians chased after them and they were drowned. According to Talmudic practice and studies, God's angels wanted to celebrate the enemy's demise when the Egyptians drowned. But God saw this and he said, "Stop celebrating. Those were my children too." So if nothing else, I want to leave you with this little seed, that remember that when we talk about us all being brothers and sisters on this planet and this universe, that also means people with whom we don't see eye to eye. That also means the people on the other side of the couch. And it's up to us to move closer to them, maybe even hold their hands, and acknowledge that in most cases, we all want the same thing. We just have very different ideas of how to get there. What is it that we are clinging to? Are we clinging to it white-knuckled, like I was, to the appearance and the job title and the credentials because that was my identity? Where in reality, I know what's more important. And I look at all these peaceful protesters out there, and they don't look very peaceful. I'm not saying we don't fight for peace. I would just like for our fight to be fueled by compassion, not by anger. And the only way that's going to happen is that if we keep our rage in check, if we allow compassion to fuel us forward, because it does the same thing as anger does. Anger is not a bad thing. It triggers that something is wrong, something is off, but anger has side effects. Compassion only has positive side effects. It only grows. And your light is not diminished when you share it. It only grows brighter. So I know we're not in biblical times and celebrating the Egyptians being drowned. I don't want us celebrating being joyful, being happy through the demise of our brothers and sisters. Because who are we if we celebrate someone else's downfall? And is that who you want to be? Is that who you want to be? I think that's all I have for you today, is just an invitation to not just say we're going to be kind to one another, but truly, deeply, madly, passionately be kind. And through our actions, not just our words. That's all I've got. Thank you, guys.
Timber, can you hear me?
I can.
So we're going to try to open this up for
Oh, wonderful.
And thank you so much for your message. One of the things that feels like a constant challenge for me anyway, is that yes, you are so right about having these moments of connectedness and divine centeredness, as we're talking about, and feeling so peaceful and all of that. And then absolutely, we go out into the world and it's like gone, you know, and you know, consciously we're aware of it, and we say, okay, I know that I'm not in the right place, and we try to get ourselves back into it. But is there, do you have any ideas or suggestions for how in the moment, or maybe in a constant way, we can stay more in that awareness of peace and stillness and centeredness?
Absolutely. It's much like in meditation. When people tell me, oh, I've tried meditating, I can't stop my mind. I can't, I can't control my thoughts. I can't. And it stems from a misunderstanding of what meditation is for. And meditation is not for those few minutes when we sit quietly and peacefully with the big grin on our face and we're happy and content. The point of meditation is when we step out into the world, like you said, and we are presented with something that troubles us. How can we then return to that meditation space in that moment, not the next morning when we sit on our cushion again, but in that moment? Even on the cushion, when the idea is not to stop our thoughts, good luck with that. They will continue. The mind will continue wandering. The tool that meditation gives us is a navigation tool. It's not to stop the thoughts from going to the left. It's then knowing I can direct them to the right. It's giving our thoughts something to chew on. And again, the thing that comes to mind, my teacher spoke about the benefit of a mantra, and he told a story about the parades they have in India up and down the main streets, and they're all just dirt roads, and they have shop stalls on the side, and it's kind of like a farmer's market, and everyone's selling their fruit and vegetables and saris, and they have these elephants, and the parades go up and down, and the elephants will just reach out for the bananas and the coconuts and everything, and just create complete and total chaos, because you can't stop an elephant from being an elephant. It sees the food and it wants to grab it. And the solution they found is to take a stick of bamboo and put it in the elephant's mouth. Once the elephant had something in its mouth, it wouldn't reach for anything else. It just kept biting down on that bamboo. Similarly, that's what a mantra does for us. If we have a mantra, and the mantra is, we're all one, we're all connected, I am at peace, or whatever your mantra is, it doesn't have to be in some foreign language that you don't understand. Then in that moment, when you're out in the world, not on your cushion, but out in the world or online, which is even scarier than out in the world, you're not so easily tempted by the bananas and the coconuts, because you already have your bamboo stick, your mantra, your own peace that cannot be disturbed by how tempting it may be to jump into an argument with so-and-so about such and such. You are centered, not just during your centering practice, but always in life. Does that help at all? Does that
Absolutely.
because that's what I think we lack. We lack that grounding stick. We have nothing. So when a song comes up, that song's stuck in our head. When an argument boils up, we are involved in that argument. We're like a little puppy that chases after everything that sparks its curiosity. We have no leash grounding us to what our practice is. And again, I don't mean offense by it, that we can be all peaceful and calm and come together on Sundays. I hope we can use this and say, how can we take awakening ways and see it as a bamboo stick that we then carry with us on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We all remind each other what the bamboo stick is, and then we come together again. But we can't drop the stick when we drop the call. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you so much. You know, we haven't done this before, and we're going to open it up for questions.
Thank you. I
Really
appreciate it. I know it's unconventional.
No. We want this to be a rich experience for people, but because of the structure of this, you must raise your hand, you must wait to be called on, and then you must mute yourself, you unmute yourself, and then when you have finished asking your question, mute yourself again. So I see Mary Spence, and Mary, unmute yourself. Can't hear you, Mary.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. Well, just this past week, I learned a new phrase. I was warned not to not to use toxic positivity, to be careful of toxic positivity. Is that a real phrase? Is that really something? Can I be too positive?
I laugh because I get accused of that all the time. It's kind of like when I suggest to people that we can remain calm in frustrating situations, when we, don't blame someone for making you feel something, because we are responsible for how we feel. So you can say something offensive, but then I can choose whether to be offended or not. Then it's very empowering, because it's like, oh yeah, why am I giving my power away to everyone else, and that I can feel angry and I can feel joyous? The intention of my message is to empower us to really embrace our ability to choose what we feel moment for moment and not be at the whim of everyone else. And yet, when I tell people, when you choose to get frustrated, that's your choice. You're doing that to yourself. You can choose something else. And people jump up and go, well, you're victim blaming. You're making, it's kind of like that toxic positivity. It's like, there is they're so married to their negative outlook, they can't even fathom that there is some silver lining in it. And you suggesting there's a silver lining somehow makes you the bad guy. Again, it puts you on the other side of the couch. And where I come from, it's not about toxic positivity or negativity. It goes back to that quote that was sent out in this month's email associated with the talk by Carl Jung. The pendulum of the mind alternates between sense and nonsense, not between right and wrong. It's kind of like that Rumi quote of beyond right and wrong, there's a field, I will meet you there. So it's not about being toxic positively or toxic negativity. It's how can we just be with what is? And that may even be seen as toxic positivity. But if you're just being with it and you're saying, this is what's happening, and what I said earlier in the talk about spirituality and acceptance does not mean agreement. I accept that this is where you're coming from. I accept that this is your truth. I don't agree with it. I don't need to agree with it, nor do you need to agree with mine. So someone looking at you and saying you're toxic positive, that's their truth. Don't accept it as your own, because then, you know what I mean? Then you give life to it by agreeing with it. You take it on as your own. Does that make sense? Okay, I see you nodding. Thank you.
Thank you. We have time for one more, and understand that we have 3 pages here of the gallery. So number one, we're gonna, if you have your hand in the air, we can see it. If your picture isn't on here and you've got your hand in the air, we can't see that. because your picture isn't there. Oh, did I miss one?
Yeah, go to 3.
Let's see. Anybody
don't
else
know.
have a question? We're so grateful to Timber. Okay. All right. I think that we're ready to.
I see Jimmy holding up his hand, his
Yes.
finger.
Right here.
Jimmy
Okay,
Townsend.
Jim, go ahead. Looks like. There you go,
There you go.
Jim. Okay.
It takes a minute.
Yeah.
My new mantra has become, when I'm out and about, and I live in Pismo, where lots of tourists come from the valley that don't believe anything about what's going on about virus, and so there's this constant, which side are you on? Is anything that happens, I just stop for a second and I say, I bless this place right here where I am right now. And even if I'm standing next to somebody that potentially could be my adversary in line while I'm picking up my pills at Walmart, I just bless this place. And it's sort of like a war is going on right now in the world. And I truly believe that you can't stop war by fighting for peace. We have to peace for peace with everybody and quit trying to fight against it, because law of attraction just says, I'm just asking for more people. And that's my statement. And I
Beautifully
love
put, Jimmy.
good stuff today, Timber.
Yeah, it's beautifully put. When we're fighting, we're a fighter. When you hate the hater, you become a hater. You know, it's like, we've said this before, but it's good to be reminded, because after a while we drop the stick. So every opportunity you come across in Pismo or anywhere else, when you're faced with something that challenges you, I see that as a wonderful opportunity. It's a gift. Thank you for giving me a reminder to pick up that stick again and put it in my mouth. And I bless this place and everyone in it. I bless this place and everyone in it. And then includes you, and it includes the advocate, it includes everyone. And then you are the peaceful person. And it's not because you're fighting for peace. It's because you're not contributing to the war. Thereby, does that make sense? Just by not
Absolutely.
being part of the problem, you are part of the solution.
Totally.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Timber. We
Thank
are
you.
so grateful to you and for you. So blessed that you share your wisdom.
Thank
with
you
us.
for allowing this to be more of a
Yes, interactive.
conversation.
Yeah, we can have that anytime.
Yeah, sure. And it worked well this morning. It was perfect, and I feel very complete. Thank you so much. So Ron, since this was kind of spur of the moment, if you're ready to move on, we'd love to hear the music that's coming up.
Listen me closely now. Use all your senses now. Can't you see that
Thank you. That was beautiful, Soulshine. Steve, that's a wonderful song. Timber, thank you so, so much for that wonderful talk this morning. You know, it reminded me that a couple of years ago, I saw a poll of least favorite phrases that people have. And the least favorite phrase in the entire United States was, "It is what it is." And I happen to have that on my license plate. And I have it on my license plate because it just is what it is. No matter what is going on, it is what it is. We have to find a way to deal with what is instead of fighting against it. Gandhi said, in order to be nonviolent, in order to practice nonviolence, you have to be nonviolent. And that starts inside by understanding that everything is just what it is. Couple of announcements. Next week is going to be Dr. Terry. She's going to be back and join us with one of her talks. A reminder that we are big fans of prayer around here. That, you know, right now we have 2 people in the hospital. David Burt and Cheryl Brown are both in the hospital for similar kinds of reasons. And we're all praying for them, and we'll continue to pray for them until there is a healing. So if you have anything that you need prayer for, just send us an email to awakeningways@thegrid.net. Put prayer request in the subject line, and then send it to us. And we will be praying for you for a week. And if you, at the end of a week, you still need us to pray, then you just need to let us know. And we'll continue to keep you on the prayer list. Also remember that we're here this morning because you support us financially as we support you spiritually. Those needs continue, even though we're online and our office is, you know, we still have our office, we still have all of our expenses. So we'd like to invite you to continue to donate. You can send it by mail to 7350 El Camino, Suite 101, Atascadero, or you can go online to our website and use the PayPal button that's on the website in a couple of different places. Yeah, so we appreciate everything that you do for us, as I know you appreciate everything that we do for you. We love you. So if you will, just join me now. Close your eyes, if you're comfortable doing so. And know with me that there is one divine source, one divine life, one divine consciousness, that creator, that infinite, eternal creator of all. It is in me, it is me, for I am part of that creation. I am part of that consciousness. I am part of all that it is, as it is all of what I am. As it's true for me, I know it's true for each one of us on this call this morning, and for each person not on this call, that we are all one. And knowing that we are all one, I know that each experience in life, each event that occurs, is part of an unfolding divine perfection that I cannot see and I cannot know, for I am but this finite bit of God having a frank experience. But it is divine and divinely unfolding. I know that it is what it is, for the divine is moving through everything. It is, and it can be no different than what it is right this moment, for there is but this one reality, this one divine creation, no matter how each of us sees it differently. Whether we see it as right and wrong, or sense and nonsense, whether we see it as good or bad, however we may see it, it just is what it is. And as we walk through this world, knowing that peace of God that passes all understanding fills us when we allow it to. When we remember that we are one with it, that it is one with us, and that what is transpiring is all God. It is all God. This reality, this world that we seem to live in is God having a human experience. And no matter how good or bad it may seem to us, the creatures that fill our world, the other sentient beings, go on about their lives unencumbered by our fears, our hopes, our dreams, our sense of right and wrong. As we watch the squirrels, we watch the birds, we know that they are so much more aware that what is what is. They are so much more aware of the groundedness of life that we fail to see. And I know that as we walk through the world this week and we watch for those other creatures and how they are living their lives, they are not choosing sides, they are simply living. And that is ours to do also. Walking through life with that sense of peace, that sense of simply knowing that life is what life is, and being at peace with it, is the greatest gift that we can accept. And I accept it for each and every one of us now. And I give thanks for it is the truth of the divine flowing through each of us. Isn't it wonderful? Thank you, thank you, thank you. I've spoken my word of love. That love has impelled the divine law into motion. The demonstration is sure and complete right here and right now. There's nothing more I need do but release and let go and walk through the world knowing that it just is what it is. And so it is.